the story applies to what
absurd
kind of
one-star
content you're
hotel
making.
reviews. I could never been harder.
It's like important to surprise your audience.
So time is probably one of the most annoying problems that we all have and face. We all want to do certain things with our lives. We all want to achieve certain things. But once you get a little bit older, something that I realize is that there's honestly no freaking time. Give you kind of an example. So for me, I have a 9-to-5 job that I actually really enjoy. I also have a multiple 6-figure business that I'm trying to scale to 7 figures. There's content that I need to make. Then, oh yeah, the most important parts of my life, my family, my 2 kids, my wife, friends I need to pay attention to. And then, I honestly forgot about the whole, hey, being healthy thing, making sure you get enough sleep, gotta read. There's just so many things that I want to do, that I want to achieve, but there's never feels like there's enough time. And honestly, for a while, it started getting to the point where I started, resenting not having enough time. I look at other people and make the excuse of, oh, well, they don't have kids, so that's why they can do whatever. Until I realized that, it's not just a problem. I mean, it is. It's something to be solved, the whole thing of time, but it's actually our greatest opportunity. It's our greatest opportunity to start thinking about what matters most, prioritizing what things can we say no to. And then it got me back into thinking about mastery. This concept that, if you read this book, Mastery by Robert Greene, the guy that wrote the book, 48 Laws of Power, you realize that, I don't know if maybe it is just me, but I feel like we live in this era where it's important to kind of be decent at everything. There's so many aspects to growing a business. There's so many different points of things that you got to learn how to do, right? Whether it's making content, networking, sales, marketing, email marketing, text marketing, there's all these things that we feel like we got to do. But if you apply mastery, the concept that you really only need to get really, really good at one skill, be known for one thing, and then you compound that, you also blend that in with Dan Sullivan, Dr. Benjamin Hardy's Who Not How, you realize there's a way to still get what you need done and still stay focused on your unique ability, your unique thing. And honestly, I started thinking about this because I was thinking about making content. So YouTube, for example, I was talking to so I started thinking about this really yesterday because I was talking to my father-in-law and he came over yesterday. We did cold plunge and stuff like that. And he was asking me what I was planning to do the rest of the day. And I was like, oh, Sunday's my day to film. And he was asking me what kind of content I'm making and trying to explain how I'm gonna be sitting at my desk and I'm gonna be explaining this concept. And he goes, well, what happened to you doing the vlog kind of style? I thought that was your new thing. I started making all these excuses. I was like, well, it's more efficient to or sit down and script out what I'm gonna say and I can knock it out in 10 minutes versus when I do a vlog, it's usually me talking across several different scenes throughout the day and I gotta think about it. And then as I was talking, I was like, oh, I'm just making excuses for not having time. When in reality, it's not actually real. I do have time, I'm just not prioritizing it. And in fact, part of the whole daily vlog thing, this idea about documenting my life versus just doing a lesson on YouTube, is it does require a little bit more time, in my opinion, the way that I'm doing it, where you need to start the day off with scripting. Start the day off, for me anyway, thinking about a concept, except for I don't script the whole thing. I actually just think about the problem I'm trying to solve and then kind of talk through the rest of the day on that topic. But at any rate, I was thinking about this, right, and time and me doing this, and I realized, oh, there's so many things in my life that I could easily start saying no to. Things that would free up my time. Things that for example, short form video for me is that thing that I don't need to do. In the past, short form video was the key to growing my business. But then again, the more I got into YouTube and I started actually evaluating, all right, does this actually result in the sales of my business or connections or whatever? And the answer was no. It was a lot of my content that was taking off that had nothing to do with my business and didn't do anything for my business for that matter. So it was what am I really doing this for? It's just honestly for the flex. It was for the likes and for the views. So it wasn't really, I realized it wasn't really the best use of my time. And honestly, it also resulted in going down the rabbit hole, when you're doing research and you just start looking at stuff on on Instagram for hours because you're researching. So one of the first things I had to do was to figure out what's important to me. Because again, when you don't have time, you gotta prioritize, right? So I kind of bucketed things into kind of simple steps. Number one was family, my business, work, and my health. And funny enough, I kind of imagined it in that order. So what ended up happening was a lot of I realized recently, thanks to things like Whoop, right, tracking my recovery and all that, that health was kind of going to the wayside a bit. But when you figure out what's important to you, and you can start saying no to certain things. So like, for example, normally when I have an hour here or there, maybe I would start working more on the business, or I would scroll on Instagram like I was talking about earlier, or go on YouTube. Now, since I have about an hour in between meetings, I'm gonna get in some yoga. Partly why, by the way, shout out to the Vibe board. I got this freaking thing from them, and it's nice because actually, yeah, if there's a bunch of work stuff I can do, but also I can just throw Peloton on here, which is nice. So I'm gonna take this hour and get in some yoga, and no, I'm not gonna make you watch me do it because it'd be incredibly embarrassing. But one of the things that, because I was kind of putting it off to the side and I was not paying attention to it, things started falling off. So like, I recently started to prepare for a half marathon. I'm doing the Spartan half marathon in November, and I hadn't run. I didn't realize I hadn't ran in 4 years. And so I just decided, all right, I'm just gonna start running. So I started running, and literally my calf tightened up and my knee was a problem. So anyway, I didn't create space to do it the right way because I didn't have any time, right? I started just running and acting like I was freaking 30 something or 25 again, right? But anyway, now that I know exactly what I need to do and I know what to say no to, I can create space for stuff like this. Let me get into this yoga real quick. I'll be right back.
All right, we back, and as you can tell, obviously it changed. See what had happened was, what was going on here? See what happened was, I did the yoga, which was great, by the way. It's honestly the first time I did yoga in a hot minute, and got tied into work because that's just what happens sometimes. You get a short period of time, short window to get some work done or get some stuff done for your own health, and then I had to jump into work. So obviously finished up work, got on the bike. I'll explain why, like what's going on with my leg a little bit here in a second, but I decided to ride the bike instead of going running today. I like this Peloton bike, did a class, and now I'm about to go outside, change to some bathing shorts, and then we're gonna go do the steam room and the ice plunge, and we'll finish up there for the day.
All right, so I was talking before, I think when I was in the car, about how I just kind of randomly decided, you know what, I'm gonna start preparing for a half marathon. I go through these periods of time where honestly, I just think it's just boredom, where I kind of decide I need more of a challenge in my life, and I pick something like, I don't know, a myriad of things. Like, oh, I just decided I'm gonna start lifting weights again, like super heavy, and try to lift as much as I can, or doing a jiu-jitsu tournament, or in this case, doing a half marathon, which I'm not really a runner. I've done it before. I've dabbled, but it's not really my forte. I'm more of like a combat athlete type of situation. Pick weights up, put them down kind of guy. With that being said, yeah, I just kind of came out the gates hot. I'm not gonna lie to you. I kind of like assumed, because I've ran before, and I did go through a period where I was like pretty heavy into running. I thought I could pick this back up. So I just started running, and first mile after 4 years, it felt like my knees were gonna fall off. Like the pavement, the impact was so freaking hard on my knees. Just not used to it at all. Cardio wise, I literally was like red lighting. By that, I mean like I was 155, 160, like running a 10-minute mile, which was insane. And I realized I had a huge imbalance at this point, right? Like I was, pretty strong, but like my aerobic fitness levels, right? The stuff that actually matters long-term, was pretty low. So anyway, I started hitting it even harder, right? Like when I suck at something, I kind of double down and decide like, oh, I'm gonna get better here. And so I started running like every other day, and then trying to get to the point where it was every week, or every day rather. And within 2 weeks, my calf got so tight that it made my knee swell up. And then like, it's still a little bit swollen, not as bad now, but like as a result of that, a long time ago, it was like a couple years ago from jiu-jitsu, I minor tear like my meniscus. And so it started like aggravating that again. And so literally I couldn't walk. So I say all that to say, now that I'm feeling a little better, I've been, been stretching like crazy and icing the crap out of my knee. And today was like one of the first days where, that it felt decent. And there was a part of me that was like, oh, we're getting after it today. And then luckily I was like, you know what? Let me get on the Peloton and just do like a low impact. Let's slowly ramp up. I got a little bit of time. The half marathon we're planning on doing, I'm doing with a friend of mine, is the half marathon Spartan race. It's the half marathon Spartan race in November. It's like a little bit of time. Still probably cutting it pretty close. Today, to finish up the day, we're gonna do this steam sauna. I did a review on this, not a review. It's actually more like a, I guess you can call it a review on the NeuroCover steam sauna. But since that video, it's been featured in a couple of my other videos. I got the Ice Barrel 500, I think this one is. Sorry, Ice Barrel, that's wrong. But I think it's the 500, which is super freaking sweet. This one is like highly insulated. So in the Arizona heat, it's fine. And it has a seat in there, which is dope. And right now she's sitting at about 45 degrees. Let's go. Let's go. So I'm gonna do the sauna, to the cold plunge, probably call it a day. But while the steam room's heating up, let's finish off with some final thoughts. Most of today, obviously, I've been thinking about time, right? This idea that we don't have time, although it is real and it's a problem, honestly, it's also a great opportunity. And the more I think about it, like today, I'm getting in a lot of the stuff I wanted to get into, but I also said no to a lot. So it's that balance I'm realizing more and more. And it's silly because it's like, there's many things that as I get older, I think I'm more impacted by. Time is one of those big ones, and health, obviously. Like again, when I was 20, I could run as far as I wanted, whatever. I run 1 mile, now my knee blows up. But time is still with enough time and with enough continuous work, you can just about achieve anything. It's just about priorities and like looking at things in terms of seasons. So for example, like right now, I'm in a season of like kind of almost like reevaluation. Like I'm used to the grind and go, go, go. And now I'm kind of like, let's just see what happens with a lot of stuff with my business. We're still, still working hard in the 9 to 5, still working hard in the business, but instead of forcing it to happen, I'm trying to chill out a bit. And the underlying fuel source, the foundation to all of it is my health. Like it's the one thing that is gonna last me and be able to give me the energy and the motivation to do all the other stuff. And so out of all of those things, work and even family, you have to kind of prioritize the health, because without health, again, I can't be there for my family. Without health, I can't be in the right mood or mindset for work and all those other things. So I'm coming to the conclusion that like out of all the things that I want to do and want to achieve, the health part of it is kind of at the core. And I'm honestly like super inspired by like these like hybrid trainers, right? And jiu-jitsu practitioners. Like earlier, I'm watching this YouTube video of jiu-jitsu practitioners literally talking about how they're training 8 hours a day, and they're watching film and studying for hours on hours. Like that level of mastery to one thing is so intriguing to me. And the more again I get older, the more I'm like, man, I'm dabbling in too many things almost. Like I'm decent at so many things. What would happen if I really sat down and was like, this is what I want to be known? Floating around with a couple ideas on that. But anyway, I want to hear your thoughts on that. How are you managing your time? What are you prioritizing in your life? And then what I'll do is I'm gonna get in the sauna and I'm gonna finish off the cold plunge. We'll end the video on that, because who doesn't like seeing somebody's face go, whoa? Anyway, if you don't stay around until then, it's fine. I'll catch you guys in the next one.